intuition just told me that this commitment was coming, and we were right. Not gonna lie, I might have had a little bit of inside info also. What's up, world? Welcome to another episode of East Knows Tar Heel basketball. And today I'm excited that Hubert Davis has gotten another recruit in the class of 2024. 6'6" guard from New York, Ian Jackson, aka Captain Jack. And I'm actually making this video, editing this video on Monday, January 9th, because I had a feeling. I was looking at Ian's Instagram and I saw Kentucky before, but then I went back and Kentucky was gone, and I was like, does this mean something? So I started looking, and it just felt like I think we're gonna get this kid. And then I also asked a few people, and I got a little inside information. If you guys stick around to the end of the video, I might share it with you. So definitely stick around if you want to hear some potentially big news that, it's not confirmed, but it might be a big deal later on. So what type of player are we getting? Well, I have to say Ian Jackson at this stage is more athletic than Caleb Love, on top of him being a true 6'6", 6'5". So definitely has some bounce. He's an electric athlete. He likes to get up, and he's a true New York Bronx guy. He's strong, quick off the bounce, and he just likes to really get after it. You'll definitely catch him, backdoor alley-oops even for a guard, which we haven't seen at Carolina in a long time. So in these clips, we're going to see a little bit of his ball handling as well as his finishing ability. And the kid is not just athleticism. He has a nice touch. You'll see this dirt type of shot here. Nice spin, fadeaway thing. He's just got a really good touch. He has a nice handle too, though. And some people were calling him a point guard before during his sophomore year just because of his handle and his ability to make plays. So he's not all about the athleticism. He's also a very talented scorer. And here you just see that he's a 3-level scorer, mid-range, pull-ups, coming off the screens. So just he'll be very versatile as a scorer. Not to get it confused, however, he is a true shooting guard. He's definitely not a point guard, not even a combo guard. He's a shooting guard that can make plays and just handle the ball. But he's unselfish, so he'll make the right pass, and he's looking to just make sure he wins. And that's the type of guy he is. He's a winner. His jump shot is good, though. He's a 3-level scorer, and you see here he has decent technique on his jump shot. It's a bit unorthodox, but for the most part, it's good. He's a scrappy player. He works hard, and he definitely takes pride in his defense. So he's going to get to the rim, but he's also going to do some nice pull-ups and just score in different ways. So here you see him get a nice block here, and he straps up on D. He takes pride in his defense, and like I say, he's from the Bronx. You know how these New York guards are. They're tough, and Hubert Davis is really building something special with that pipeline up there with these New Jersey, New York guards. And the kid has a work ethic. He even said himself, one of his things is that he wasn't always highly ranked, and he knew that, and he was proud of himself to see the work pay off. And I think it is. I mean, that's a nice step back. And it's not just all talk. You see him guarding Bronny James there, Boogie Flan, and of course coming up, the #1 shooting guard and #1 player in the country from Texas, Trey Johnson. And I think he took that game personally. So playing against Bronny and playing against these big names, he definitely just wanted to prove himself, being the best player in New York, New Jersey area, against Boogie Flan, playing against Bronny where everyone's staring at him, playing against Trey Johnson where everyone's saying he's the #1 shooting guard and player, and he just competes. Usually I try to give a Carolina comparison, but to be honest, I haven't really seen a shooting guard that reminds me of Ian Jackson. If someone else has a player that they can think of from Carolina he reminds you of, please leave it in the comments. Let's talk about it. But for me, he reminds me of Will Barton, guard from Baltimore. I think he came out with Reggie Bullock and was actually the #1 shooting guard that class. So that's probably my best player comparison. So something different I want to do for y'all that's a little bit different from everyone else who just talks about the recruit and how they play. I want to actually talk about, look at some play sets and see, how do these players fit into the system. So let's get into this play set right here that we just saw. So here you'll see Ian run off a high screen, get the ball, And from here, he can either catch and shoot, attack, but of course, right now he's looking to feed the post, in which he does successfully. So here you'll see this play that's a more advanced version of that play that's not exactly the same. And like I said, this is a college version of this where you have just a lot more going on, but focusing on the shooting guard position. Caleb's going to set the screen for Baycott. Baycott goes into a pick and roll. This is a phantom screen. Caleb gets the ball. Now, Caleb could have shot the ball there, similar to what Jackson had, or he could have slashed right away. However, they're looking to get the ball to Baycott early, force feed it to him. Nothing's there. Caleb slashes, gets the basket. And this is exactly what Hubert Davis and company is showing to Ian Jackson when they're recruiting him, how he fits into the system. With that being said, the class of 2024 now has Elliot Cadeau, we have a Ian Jackson, and we have Drake Powell. And it's hard to see a guy like Boogie Flynn, as talented as he is, joining that class just because of how many guards it is, including the ones we don't know, who's going to go to the NBA, who's transferring. But speaking of those guys, it's awesome that a 3-year junior like RJ Davis and a guy who hasn't even got to campus like Elliot Cadeau are already recruiting Ian Jackson, and they had to be a huge part of him making this commitment. That family atmosphere was just huge in getting this commitment to go through. So hats off to him. Shout out to Lee Tar Heel, by the way. There is, as you know, we have Drake Powell. We've already signed James Brown, but we also signed Mr. Elliot Cadeau. And this is very big because it continues the pipeline that I've discussed in the last video, where we're looking at these New Jersey guards, we're looking at these New York guards, and Hubert's really building something special with that area. And Ian Jackson is actually friends with Elliot Cadeau. And you can look here in this video clip where he says that he would select Elliot as his point guard from the high school circuit, as well as read what he says here about Elliot, saying that about their relationship. So that's definitely an impact on future recruiting. I think it also helps out, of course, that we signed Simeon Wilcher, and just moving forward, you got to look at these different guards.
First starting lineup.
At my one, I'll have Elliot at my one.
I'm super excited to see 2024 and see Elliot Cadeau and a guy like Ian Jackson playing together, because they'll be so dynamic. But not so fast. Remember, I told you at the beginning of the video, if you stuck around, we would talk about something special. And this, a bit of a insider news. I'm not exactly sure if this is going to be the case. However, it could be the case that if we do not have a Caleb Love and he decides to, takes his chances on the draft, or if he ups his draft status or whatever the case may be, if we don't have Caleb Love especially, there's a good chance actually that Ian Jackson will decide to reclassify and go into the class of 2023. So he will be coming in with Simeon Wilcher and Zayden High. And that would also really uplift that class and make them an exciting bunch too. And I don't know exactly, it's a bit early to really consider what that could do for the class, what it means for future recruiting, or what impact it has on current players on the team. But yeah, it's definitely an option. He has said that he does want to go to the NBA. The NBA is his dream, and in these days there's so much to navigate with the NIL, with the transfer portal, and with the reclassification thing. There's just so much to navigate. Like, it's really hard to lock down what a roster is going to look like, but it's going to be very interesting if it is the case that we have Caleb Love leave and Ian Jackson says that he wants to take that spot, and what that means for the rest of the team. So keep a lookout. If let's say it happens, if it does happen, I know everyone loves Seth Trimble. Seth Trimble has proven that he's a solid player, but competition is competition. The perceived notion is that Wilcher and a guy like Ian Jackson are going to come into play, right? Got to remember, Seth Trimble was a 4-star. He wasn't a McDonald's All-American, and he's a legacy player. So these types of players, they come for the love, and there is a chance that they go to the NBA and be great players, but there's no pressure on them like there is on the McDonald's players, the 5-star guys. So the pressure to come in on for both the coaches to play those players that are 5 stars, to develop the talent that are 5 stars, and then for that 5 star to actually show that they are a 5 star, there's so much more writing on that from a business standpoint. And unfortunately, it's college basketball, but we have to talk about the business because NIL, they're all making, 6 figures at the least. So you have to navigate this landscape. So with that said, potentially what we could be seeing is I'm one of the ones, I believe RJ will be back. So you have RJ Davis at the point guard. You'll have a Simeon Wilcher as a shooting guard. And you can play a Jackson as your small forward, technically, but just in a, similar as what we've done now with Pete Nance being injured. You just have a small ball 3-guard lineup. And Hubert Davis likes this. So yeah, but it's so far away. We don't know what's gonna happen. We don't know. Maybe RJ plays his way into the second round, or who knows. So let's stick around and see what happens. But thanks for joining in. Like, share, comment. Let me know what you think about this video. And as always, go Tar Heel Nation.